Welcome to Hatman Strikes Back Daily Boxing News. Now, I'm sure most of you are familiar with the term, the Who Needs Him Club. Now, as that pertains to boxing, we're talking about a number of fighters in any given division who most fighters in the top 10 aren't particularly keen on facing because the risk-reward isn't very attractive. So in other words, this would be a fighter who is dangerous, but isn't a particularly big commercial draw. You see, if you are a really big commercial draw, no matter how dangerous you are, no matter how good you are, no matter how dominant you are, you're never going to be short of challengers. Because boxing is full of people, full of fighters who are looking to change their lives with a massive payday, to become millionaires. When Mike Tyson was fighting back in the mid to late 1980s and was undisputed champion, he fought regularly. He weren't struggling for fights, despite the fact that he was arguably the most menacing heavyweight champion in history. So if the money's there, people will fight you. But if the money's not there, you end up in the Who Needs Him Club. You might even be the president of it. I say all this to talk about the heavyweight division. There are several fighters who nobody is really scrambling to take on right now. I guess the first, the most obvious name would be Martin Bole. Martin Bole has been in the Who Needs Him Club for a long time now, truth be told. Back when Daniel Dubois was WBA regular champion, Bole at one stage was #1 contender with the WBA, and he was pushing for a mandatory shot which never came. He was calling Daniel Dubois out publicly. He's also been calling Usyk out, although Usyk's been tied up with all sorts of fights. Called out Joshua a few times as well. Now, when you're in this predicament where you're dangerous but nobody wants to fight you, or most people don't want to fight you, then what you're going to have to do is fight other members of the Who Needs Him Club. Either that or you take on somebody who doesn't realize how dangerous you are, which is what Martin Bole did in his last fight with Jared Anderson. But off the back of that win for Bole, it's not like fighters are banging down the door to fight him. However, the IBF have ordered a final eliminator between Bole and another member of the Who Needs Him Club, AIC Kabayel. There's rumors that these guys will fight each other. Initially, people were saying in December on the Usyk Fury card, but that doesn't seem likely at the moment. More recently, there are rumors that it could be on this big February card that they're building. In any event, to take a look at the records of both, Martin Bole is 21-1, 16 wins by knockout, 32 years of age, 6 feet 6 inches tall, from the Democratic Republic of Congo, but based in Scotland in the UK. He's a very big heavyweight. His last fight against Jared Anderson, he weighed 284 pounds. Prior to that, he was just a shade under 300 pounds against Carlos Takam. But for the past few years, he's been floating around that 280 mark. 275 against Yoka, etc. He's a big, strong man. He seems to be able to take a shot. He throws a lot of punches. He's got power in both hands. He's very fluid with his shots. He's aggressive. He's never afraid to mix it up. He's got a good jab. He mixes it up to head and body. He keeps you under pressure. That's Bole's style. Contrast it with AIC Kabayel, who's a German fighter of Turkish extraction, 25-0, 17 KOs. In fact, before I get onto that, I should have mentioned Martin Bole's best wins were Jared Anderson, Carlos Takam, and Tony Yoka. Maybe Sergey Kuzmin as well was a decent win, but he does have that loss, which he's never avenged, to Michael Hunter, which was a stoppage defeat in 10 rounds back in 2018. That was a very, very good fight, by the way. If you haven't seen it, go watch it on YouTube. It's available last time I checked. So anyway, back to Kabayel. He's definitely emerged as a dark horse in the heavyweight division. 32 years of age, 6'3", 80-inch reach. As I say, undefeated, 25-0, 17 KOs. Now, the first time I ever saw Kabayel was back in 2017 when he beat Derek Chisora for the EBU heavyweight title. In fact, it was his first defense of it. And although Kabayel won fair and square, it wasn't the type of performance which made me think that this guy's going to be a real factor in the heavyweight division sometime in future. It was an extremely negative performance. He pretty much just ran around the ring, jab, jab, grab for the whole 12 rounds. That was out in Monaco. And after that fight, he pretty much drifted off into obscurity. He was defending his EBU belt against obscure opposition, taking on low-level fighters like Kevin Johnson, who once upon a time was a world title challenger, but for the past, 5, 6, 7 years, he's been pretty much a journeyman. Andre Rudenko, fringe contender. This guy here, whose name I've never seen before, Pavel Sauer, I've seen him fight before. Kabayel stopped him in 1. Another fighter here who Kabayel stopped in 3 rounds for the EBU title. Argon or Agron Smakiki or something. Yeah, these miscellaneous fighters. These are the guys that Kabayel was fighting for years. So he literally had 6 years in the wilderness. God knows what he was doing, fighting obscure opposition. In fact, he was fighting like once a year during this period, pretty much. He was holding on to a top 15 ranking purely because he was EBU champion, because some of the sanctioning bodies automatically rank you in the top 15 if you hold the EBU title. So then he gets an opportunity on this Riyadh season card last year in December. And truth be told, he was brought in to be a victim for Arslanbek Makhmudov. He weren't supposed to win that fight, but he went in there and he upset the apple cart. Not only did he win, he actually stopped the much bigger Makhmudov, who was a noted puncher. And Turki Al-Sheikh seems to have this winner stays on type situation going on, whereby because Kabayel won that fight, they brought him back and matched him tough again against another unbeaten fighter in Frank Sanchez, the Cuban. Like most people, I expected that one to be far more competitive than the Makhmudov fight. Kabayel amazingly bullied and blasted out Makhmudov in 4 rounds, mostly with body shots, but there were some good headshots as well. Sanchez, though, a skilled boxer, a slickster, pretty good puncher, explosive, good mover, trained by Eddie Reynoso. In fact, I'm not sure whether he was during the time of that particular fight, because he was with Reynoso, then he left and he went back to him. In any event, Kabayel went in there and made maybe not quite as easy work of Sanchez as he made of Makhmudov, but he weren't far off. To be fair, Sanchez did appear to be injured to me. He actually had a good first round, but after that, he was laying on the ropes, rumbling the jungle style, and allowing Ajit Kabayel to tee off on him. And Kabayel just beat him up, and every round was the same. Sanchez up against the ropes, getting beaten like some kind of human heavy bag. And remember, Sanchez is primarily a mover. So for him to fight like that, yeah, I think he was injured. His knee didn't appear to look good during the fight. I think he was wearing some type of knee support. Although I've seen him wear that in other fights and he's been okay. But if there's a long-standing injury there, chronic injury, maybe it was really bad prior to the Kabayel fight. But when you're being offered the kind of money the Saudis are paying, I guess Frank Sanchez said, you know what? I can't afford to turn this down. Even if I am injured, I've got to give it a go. So that's Ajit Kabayel. Should be taking on Martin Bacoli in an IBF final eliminator. I hope that fight happens. It's very interesting. Another member of the Who Needs Him club is Mr. Jiang, the Big Bang from China. 41 years of age, 6'6", 80-inch reach, a record of 27-2-1. His most notable win on paper was against former WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder. But in reality, the wins against Joe Joyce were actually better, because Joyce had a lot more left at the time when Jiang beat him than Deontay Wilder did. Many people also believe that he should have got the decision against Filip Hrgović, which would have been another good win. Personally, I thought it was a really close fight, could have gone either way. I wouldn't have complained if Jiang had got it, but nor did I complain when Hrgović got the decision. So that's the Big Bang. Big southpaw, power in both hands, good boxing brain, good technique, former Olympian obviously. And the final member of the Who Needs Him club is Joseph Parker, former WBO World Heavyweight Champion, 32 years of age, from New Zealand, 6'4", 76-inch reach, fast hands, good mover, intelligent, good chin, blows a bit hot and cold, if we're going to be real, but he's had some very good wins, particularly lately. He beat Jiang, another member of the Who Needs Him club. He beat Deontay Wilder, took a tough loss against Joe Joyce, beat Derek Chisora a couple times, lost to AJ and Dylan White back in the days, beat Huey Fury, and also beat Andy Ruiz, gave him his first loss, although that was a very close fight. Because Joseph Parker turned pro at a relatively young age, he's one of these guys who isn't particularly old now, but he's got an absolute ton of experience. 38 pro bouts, and he's fought loads of big names. Now, these 4 members of the Who Needs Him club have got several things in common. First of all, they all come from countries that are not major players in the world of boxing. Bacoli's from Congo, Kabayel's from Germany. Obviously, Germany used to be major players, particularly in the heavyweight division, but not anymore. Jiang's from China, and Joseph Parker's from New Zealand. Now, 3 of them speak relatively good English, Bacoli, Kabayel, and Parker. Jiang pretty much speaks no English at all. The odd word here or there. With that being said, Jiang has something which the other 3 do not, which is a so far unutilized fan base of potentially, what, 1 billion people? Not that every person in China is going to be into boxing, but you're talking about potentially, what, in the hundreds of millions? We know the Chinese are very nationalistic and patriotic and what have you. There's been talk of people taking on Jiang in China. I think even Lawrence Okolie was saying he wouldn't mind fighting Jiang in China. Bole was talking about fighting Jiang in China, and so on. Because if the Chinese can put the money up, it makes it realistic. It makes it a more attractive proposition taking on the big man. I'm not sure what's going on with Jiang right now, because we'd heard that this rematch with Joseph Parker was going to happen, but it's been radio silence. Then I saw an interview with Parker a few weeks ago where he said that the Jiang fight is not going to happen. So no idea what's going on with Zhilei Zhang. His last fight was that knockout victory over Deontay Wilder in June of this year. I'd really like to see him back out sooner rather than later. He's 41 years of age. He's no spring chicken. He needs to strike while the iron is hot. I was hoping it was actually going to be Bole versus Jiang. Jiang apparently turned the fight down, but then it looked as though he was going to fight Parker. Bear in mind, Parker and Jiang are both promoted by Frank Warren. Maybe that's what Frank Warren wanted, to have an in-house fight. But now, who knows? If you've got any information on what's going on with Zhilei Zhang, post it in the comments section. But yeah, Jiang has this potentially big market, this untapped market that the other three don't have. But he needs to actually be able to tap into it to start getting some opportunities. Or start getting more opportunities, should I say. Because he has opportunities, but not as many as he would like, I'm sure. At the moment, his boxing career exists within the Anglosphere, as it does with the other three. That's where all the money is. Yes, I know Saudi Arabia is where the money is, but the promoters involved with Riyadh Season, assisting them to put on these boxing shows, they're all Anglosphere promoters. And within the Anglosphere, these guys do not have the type of fan base necessary to make them attractive to other fighters as far as risk reward. And I'm talking about other fighters outside of the Who Needs Him Club. Let me know in the comment section who you think should be the president of the Who Needs Him Club. I want to say most people are going to say Martin Bole. Possibly some are going to say Jiang. Who knows? Maybe some will pick Parker or Kabayel. In any event, these are four talented, dangerous fighters who are chomping at the bit for an opportunity, and who on their day, you wouldn't put it past any of them actually picking up a world title at some stage. Maybe even springing a few more upsets. Now, I've got a couple of other guys here, their BoxRec pages. Honorable mentions. Moses Itauma. Now, he is in the Who Needs Him Club at the moment by virtue of the fact that he's 10-0, 8 KOs, 19 years of age, 6'2.5", born in Slovakia. He's half Nigerian, half Slovakian, but now based in Chatham, Kent, United Kingdom. Did I mention he's a southpaw? He's looked very good so far in his career. Hasn't fought anyone of note. He's having a major step up against Dempsey McKean in December on the Usyk Fury 2 undercard. He wants to try and break Mike Tyson's record and become the youngest heavyweight champion in history. Very few of the top fighters are going to want to give him an opportunity to achieve that goal. Nobody wants to get beat by a 19-year-old kid who's 10-0. Now, as his career progresses, given the fact that he is from the UK, the fan base is going to grow. And at some stage, he'll no longer be in the Who Needs Him Club. But because he has so few fights right now, and he didn't turn over as some Olympic star, then yeah, he's in the club. As is Bakadir Jalilov, who is an Olympic star, two-time super heavyweight Olympic gold medalist. 30 years of age, 6'7", 81-inch reach, from Uzbekistan but based in Brooklyn, New York. 14-0, all 14 wins coming by knockout. Hasn't fought great opposition so far, but you look at his form in the amateurs and you think, well, this guy can do serious damage in the pros. But curiously, he's been hanging around the Olympics for a bit too long for my liking. He possibly might have actually wasted his best years boxing as an amateur, rather than focusing more on his pro career. I find it quite strange. In any event, he is ranked in the top 15 by the WBC. They rank him at number 9, and the WBO, he's in right there at number 15. For those of you who haven't seen him fight, he's a tall, rangy southpaw, very upright, but he's mobile. He likes to keep you on the end of his southpaw jab, and he has got a tremendous left hand. In my view, it is without a shadow of a doubt the best left hand in the heavyweight division right now. Absolutely tremendous punch. If he catches you clean with that left hand, you're in serious trouble. Now again, he was an Olympic star, but he's not from the Anglosphere. Based in Brooklyn, yes, but he doesn't have any kind of following in the United States. So as far as the public are concerned, in the Anglosphere, he's obscure. You're not going to get paid a ton of money to fight him. Therefore, he's in the Who Needs Him Club. He's one of these guys that's going to have to fight his way to a mandatory position in order to get a title shot. Who knows? Maybe we'll see all these guys in the Who Needs Him Club fight each other in some type of mini tournament. And the winner of that mini tournament might emerge having a big fan base within the Anglosphere. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about the heavyweight Who Needs Him Club. It's fighters like this especially who benefit from people like Turki Al-Sheikh being in boxing, because he's giving opportunities to fighters who normally wouldn't get these types of opportunities. He just takes a liking to certain guys and says, okay, I want to bring you back and pay you a load of money again. He's above all the promotional politics and also the network politics, right? Because normally the networks are the ones paying for fights, whereas in this case, it's the Saudis paying for the fights. So they're above network politics, above promotional politics. And I say that because the history of boxing, not just in the heavyweight division, but throughout the divisions, is replete with fighters who stayed in the Who Needs Him club for pretty much all of their best years and never got an opportunity to fight for a title when they were at their best, which is a sad thing. I hope that doesn't happen to any of these guys. I mean, some will say that it's already happened to Jiang, but it probably hasn't yet happened to the likes of Kabayel, Bole. Parker's had loads of opportunities and he's been a champion, so not him. Etam was only 19 and he's British, so he's gonna get his time in the sun. Bakadir Jalalov, he needs to stop messing about with amateur boxing now. Concentrate on his pro career. Anyway, thought I'd do a video about this. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. And before I go, make sure you check out this career review I did on Riddick Bowe. I analyze actual video footage of the most significant bouts in his career. I talk about the context within which the fights happened, the backstory behind the fights, give insights into Riddick Bowe's style, his mindset, his personality, etc., etc. It's on my Patreon page. People are loving it. The feedback has been tremendous and people are calling for me to do more career reviews in this format. As I say, the video's like 3 hours long, but I enjoyed doing it so much, it felt like it took 20 minutes. As I say, I'm getting great feedback. If you want to access this video along with hundreds of hours worth of other exclusive boxing content, as well as our members chat, just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called the Boxing Brotherhood. There's no contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time, just like Netflix, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper. Just download the app from the Play Store or the App Store. All the links are in the description box below.